Section 5, Air Brakes. Air brakes use compressed air to make the brakes work. Air brakes are a good and safe way of stopping large and heavy vehicles, but the brakes must be well maintained and used properly. This section covers air brake system parts, dual air brake systems, inspecting air brakes, and using air brakes. Section 5, Air Brakes. 5.1, the parts of an air brake system: air compressor governor, air storage tanks, air tank drains, alcohol evaporator, safety valve, the brake pedal, foundation brakes. Air pressure gauge, air loss with the engine off, brakes on, straight truck, less than 3 psi per minute, combination vehicle, less than 4 psi per minute. Air reservoirs, wet and dry tanks, with petcocks or drain valves. Study Section 5.1, the parts of the air brake system. Test your knowledge. Question 1. Why must air tanks be drained?
Compressed air usually has some water and some compressor oil in it, which is bad for the air brake system. For example, the water can freeze in cold weather and cause brake failure. The water and oil tend to collect in the bottom of the air tank. Be sure that you drain the air tanks completely. Each air tank is equipped with a drain valve in the bottom.
Question 2. What is a supply pressure gauge used for?
All air-braked vehicles have a pressure gauge connected to the air tank. If the vehicle has a dual air brake system, there will be a gauge for each half of the system or a single gauge with 2 needles. Dual systems will be discussed later. These gauges tell you how much pressure is in the air tanks.
Question 3. All vehicles with air brakes must have a low air pressure warning signal. True or false?
True. A low air pressure warning signal is required on vehicles with air brakes. A warning signal you can see must come on before the air pressure in the tanks falls below 60 psi, or 1/2 the compressor governor cutout pressure on older vehicles. The warning is usually a red light. A buzzer may also come on.
Question 4. What are spring brakes?
All trucks, truck tractors, and buses must be equipped with emergency brakes and parking brakes. They must be held on by mechanical force because air pressure can eventually leak away. Spring brakes are usually used to meet these needs. When driving, powerful springs are held back by air pressure. If the air pressure is removed, the springs put on the brakes. A parking brake control in the cab allows the driver to let the air out of the spring brakes. This lets the springs put the brakes on. A leak in the air brake system, which causes all the air to be lost, will also cause the springs to put on the brakes. A powerful spring used to apply the brakes if air pressure is removed.
Question 5. Front wheel brakes are good under all conditions. True or false?
True. Front wheel braking is good under all conditions.
Study Section 5.2, Dual Air Brake, Section 5.3, Inspecting Air Brake Systems. Test your knowledge. Question 1. What is a dual air brake system?
A dual air brake system has 2 separate air brake systems which use a single set of brake controls. Each system has its own air tanks, hoses, lines, etc. One system typically operates the regular brakes on the rear axle or axles. The other system operates the regular brakes on the front axle and possibly one rear axle. Both systems supply air to the trailer, if there is one. The first system is called the primary system. The other is called the secondary system.
Question 2. What are slack adjusters?
Slack adjusters. Check for broken, loose, or missing parts. Check for brake adjustment. The angle between the push rod and adjuster arm should be a little over 90 degrees when the brakes are released, and not less than 90 degrees when the brakes are applied. When pulled by hand, the brake rod should not move more than 1 inch.
Question 3. How can you check slack adjusters?
Park on level ground and chock the wheels to prevent the vehicle from moving. Turn off the parking brakes so you can move the slack adjusters. Use gloves and pull hard on each slack adjuster that you can get to. If a slack adjuster moves more than about 1 inch where the push rod attaches to it, it probably needs adjustment. Adjust it or have it adjusted. Vehicles with too much brake slack can be very hard to stop. Out of adjustment brakes are the most common problem found in roadside inspections.
Question 4. How can you test the low air pressure warning signal?
Shut the engine off when you have enough air pressure that the low pressure warning signal is not on. Turn the electrical power on and step on and off the brake pedal to reduce air tank pressure. The low air pressure warning signal must come on before the pressure drops to less than 60 psi in the air tank, or tank with the lowest air pressure in dual air systems. If the warning signal doesn't work, you could lose air pressure and you would not know it. This could cause sudden emergency braking in a single circuit air system. In dual systems, the stopping distance will.
Question 5. How can you check that the spring brake comes on automatically?
Chock the wheels. Release the parking brakes when you have enough air pressure to do it, and shut the engine off. Step on and off the brake pedal to reduce the air tank pressure. The parking brake knob should pop out when the air pressure falls to the manufacturer's specification, usually in a range between 20 and 40 psi. This causes the spring brakes to come on.
Question 6. What are the maximum leakage rates?
With a fully charged air system, typically 125 psi, turn the engine off, release the service brake, and time the air pressure drop. The loss rate should be less than 2 psi in 1 minute for single vehicles, and less than 3 psi in 1 minute for combination vehicles. Then apply 90 psi or more with the brake pedal after the initial pressure drop, if the air pressure falls. More than 3 psi in 1 minute for single vehicles, and more than 4 psi for combination vehicles, the air loss rate is too much. Check for air leaks and fix before driving the vehicle. Otherwise, you could lose your brakes while driving.
Study section 5.4 using air brakes. Normal stops, emergency stops, stopping distance, brake fading or failure, proper braking technique, low air pressure warning, parking brakes. Test your knowledge. Question 1. Why should you be in the proper gear before starting down a hill?
Shift the transmission to a low gear before starting down the grade. Do not try to downshift after your speed has already built up. You will not be able to shift into a lower gear. You may not even be able to back into any gear, and all engine braking effect will be lost.
Question 2. What factors can cause brakes to fade or fail?
Brakes are designed so brake shoes or pads rub against the brake drum or discs to slow the vehicle. Braking creates heat, but brakes are designed to take a lot of heat. However, brakes can fade or fail from excessive heat, caused by using them too much and not relying on the engine braking effect. Excessive use of the service brakes results in overheating and leads to brake fade. Brake fade results from excessive heat causing chemical changes in the brake lining, which reduce friction and also causing expansion of the brake drums.
Question 3. The use of brakes on long, steep downgrade is only a supplement to the braking effect of the engine. True or false?
True. Remember, the use of brakes on a long and or steep downgrade is only a supplement to the braking effect of the engine. Once the vehicle is in the proper low gear, the following is the proper braking technique. Apply the brakes just hard enough to feel a definite slowdown. When your speed has been reduced to approximately 5 miles per hour below your safe speed, release the brakes. This brake application should last for about 3 seconds. When your speed has increased to your safe speed, repeat steps 1 and 2.
Question 4. If you're away from your vehicle only a short time, you don't need to use the parking brake. True or false?
False. Never leave your vehicle unattended without applying the parking brakes or chocking the wheels. Your vehicle might roll away and cause injury and damage.
Question 5. How often should you drain air tanks?
If your vehicle does not have automatic air tank drains, drain your air tanks at the end of each working day to remove moisture and oil. Otherwise, the brakes could fail.